Today we're going to be talking about using configuration files inside of Python. Now, some additional information before we look at some code. First off, the uses of a configuration file for your users. You can take your same code and use it in multiple situations. Your users can use it in multiple situations. For example, you can write a program that takes care of calculating pay for different companies, and you can use a configuration file that the users can use to put their pay rates, different pay rates for the different companies that use your particular program. Or, for example, you can have different trucking companies, and they can put their miles per gallon goal for their particular company and save that to a configuration file. And this way, the user doesn't have to keep entering their location information every time they run the program. It's being saved to a configuration file. And you really want to do that because that will help minimize the errors that occur when people run your program, because one of the main sources of errors in a software execution is from the end user entering wrong input values. And if you use a configuration file, they can make sure they get it right. For example, they can make sure they put the right pay rate in, or they make sure they put the right miles per gallon in, and they're not mistyping the third execution. Now, we're going to try to use a configuration file, and it's going to have different sections. You'll see where there's a default section, Team Prog 1, Team Prog 2. Those are the sections of the configuration file. And then you have your different fields and what they're set to. You'll see here, for example, there's the full name, my name, and experience, the amount of experience I got. The current language that I'm programming in is Python, my particular age, and my particular pay rate. And you have a place for another programmer, their name, their experience, their current language, their age, and their particular pay rate. And that's being saved to a configuration file. Now, this is the source code that deals with that particular configuration file. Notice that we have to, in Python, we import configparser. That way we're able to use the methods and the classes to handle a configuration file. Okay, we take and we create an object by calling our library with the configparser routine. Now we're going to set the section up of default, and we're going to set these attributes that are part of the default section. Then we're going to set a section that is Team Prog 1, and that's how we do that, to set the section portion. Then we're going to set the full name. We're going to set the experience. We're going to set the current language. We're going to set the age. We're going to set the pay. Now, I want you to notice a few things. First off, that even the numeric values are in quotation marks. Okay? I also want you to notice how that we are using capitalization here, but if you think back to what you saw in the file, they were all lowercase. See, these are case insensitive. Now I'm setting another section here with a different person, their amount of experience, their principal language, and their age, and their pay. And to save this information, we take and we open with the name of the file that we're going to save to, write as config file, and then we're going to config.write the config file. So this is our configuration object. We have taken and we have executed the write method, and we've passed the file handle to it, and we write to that. Now, to show you how we read that, we're going to read config, make a read config object. We're going to execute the config parser, and then we're going to read the config file that we just wrote. And to demonstrate that we actually read that in, we're going to go through, cycle through all the keys in the object, and we're going to print the key, and then we're going to print the value of that key. And if you look over here, that is exactly the information that we had set over here. And that is how you use a configuration file, an any file, inside of Python. I want to thank you for listening. If you would have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. And if you will, please like and subscribe. And also, the source code for all of my YouTube Python programs, the little examples that I've been giving you, can be found on my GitHub. Thank you.